So we're gonna show this. So of course the start.
This is the start. We kind of wanted to maintain the pose from the original one that we're making an homage to.
A real low bend.
A real low.
Getting in.
Then of course the first punch. As you see, the storyboards are pretty basic. We didn't flesh everything in quite yet.
Yeah, these aren't for like beauty. They're to show people who are making them what it's supposed to do.
But
it's the basics.
when we're iterating on ideas, it's super cool to see. This is the second level of first someone's just talking about it,
Right.
and then Tony kind of gives us you're starting to visualize how to look before it gets to the cinematic aspect.
And just like any brainstorming session, like somebody will throw something out, and that idea gets better, and that idea gets better, and that idea gets better. So like to say that like, this is all me just doesn't exist.
There is almost no fatality that I've ever seen where one person just has an idea and it gets in the game. It's usually, well, this character's never done this before. Wouldn't it be neat if? And then someone says, and they could do it this way. And then someone says, it'd be even better this way. And then like one idea will mutate into drastically different ideas.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
We got the next screen. This is the third part.
This is the third one. This is kind of where the blooper reel bit starts to ramp up. So cuts yelled from off screen, and then we go to, the typical director cinema
clapboard
things.
Yep. The slate.
The slate.
Oh.
The slate.
There we go. There we go, Burke.
Yeah, and then it just goes on from there, and then reset to the punch. So it looks very similar, but the jaw is gone. Then we concept the head's flopping back, if you could tell by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
In case you don't know, head flops back.
Head flops back. Head flops forward. Cut. Johnny's not too happy about it.
I always love how the victim in these is always just kind of happy looking.
Right. He's got those big eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not mad.
No, he's not. He's fine. Cut again. Then reset to like the final finisher shot.
Johnny's even in
more
his
stuff
storyboard, still wearing sunglasses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're not cool unless you have sunglasses.
Truth.
And then the end frame
With the middle finger
with the middle finger.
and random bald, buggy-eyed character.
And this fatality is a great example of the iteration of an idea, where the initial idea was, let's do a tribute to the triple head glitch from MK1, and then it was at MK2.
Right.
Then it was, maybe the heads will keep falling back.
Right.
Then someone's like, what if if we're going to break the fourth wall, let's own it.
Right.
And then what if we had the slate, and then it just keeps going and going until it just becomes the absurdity that was the final thing.
If you're Mortal Kombat and you're going to break the fourth wall, you destroy the fourth wall.
Yeah.
You just,
Right.
you just
Yes.
let it
You
rip.
throw a head at it.
Yes, and break the fourth wall.
And Johnny Cage is a character where you can do that, where it's pretty much all off limits.
Yeah, we get to have a lot of fun with him because he's so silly and crazy, and he's not serious at all like a lot of the other characters. So
He's our comic relief.
He's the comic relief, but I like to think we don't overplay it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then after that's done, then we start. What's next?
Then we go to mocap. We go into the shoot. We kind of advise the mocap actors what we want, what we're looking for, and then we take and send those over to the animators. The animators clean up the mocap, and then they send it to me to kind of do the camera editing and cinematography of it.
Okay. Yeah. Do we want to show the next thing?
Yeah,
now?
and then we go to a first rough draft. I think this one's actually been edit locked, but it iterates on the way. The temp audio is actually me and Steven from the audio department.
Steven Shatner?
Yep.
My boy.
Yep.
Cut. Reset.
Johnny's fatality. Take 2.
Cut.
Take 11.
Everyone take 5.
Tongue is awesome.
The tongue is amazing.
Yeah.
So then that's the next step.
That's the next step.
And then we're finished.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's done. That's
You
how
just
it
press
looks
the
like.
finish button,
Yeah.
and it's done.
Yeah, that's it. No, then I take it into our Unreal tool, which we set up everything on, and then I set it up, send it to effects. Effects gets their ball rolling, lighting, audio, all have their hands in it, and then it goes to QA, so it goes to Steve.
And that goes to a jobber like me spending all day doing one fatality in every corner against every victim on every skin in every part of the stage over and over and over again because, for example, you rip their head off and Johnny Cage's sunglasses are still floating there. or you rip their torso off and Kano's knives are still sitting there.
Right.
And then that goes back to you guys, who
Yep.
then fix those, and then we do that for a while.
So from start to finish, like, you obviously we're working on a bunch of them at the same time.
Yes.
So any sort of timeline there?
It's about between 6 and 9 months, depending on the fatality and complexity.
And some things you'll get paused for another one to work. We got this done now. Let's move to this. That
Yeah,
sort of thing.
it's like an assembly line. We just like, I take it, I move it along. I take it, I move it along.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone, and again, just like everything in the studio, everyone sort of touches it at some point.
Yeah, it's actually kind of great. It's like a big collaborative project.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about this process for the cinematics and fatalities and crushing blows and everything is seeing the initial idea, and you're hype. I can't wait to see it. Then you see the storyboard, and it's even cooler. Then you see, I will literally check on those early animations almost every week to see what's going on, and it's getting there. And then audio makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
The groaning, the blood, all that stuff, and the cinematography of it. You could just, if you just say someone gets their head cut off, it's like, well, I've seen that for 30 years, but the cinematography of it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
and
it's definitely evolved from
Oh, yeah.
day one to now. Like we really study and like try and focus on enhancing our cinematic abilities.
And I mean, the dismemberment tech, the different special effects for particles, for scorpions, the fire, the blood looks
so good.
amazing. It is literally like 5 different types of groups of artists, and then it all comes together at the end and looks amazing.
Yeah.
Let's show. We got one more thing to show about the facial, like being animated.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of do a thing about that.
Yeah, so after I get in the tool, Facial's another team that takes care of it. Andy Sinisek and Alex Bittner head fronting that. And they do a great job. And it's really actually funny to see in this clip you're going to see because it doesn't move. The body doesn't move. It's just the face.
Let's take a look at that clip.
Who hired this guy? What the fuck?
I think with every Mortal Kombat game that we start, we want to introduce something new, something different.
There's been some advances that have been made, like facial animations and just the quality of the art overall.
We're getting into environments and stuff that we weren't just able to do in the past at this level of fidelity.
One thing we want to do is freshen up the cadence of gameplay and stuff like that, and I think that's something that I think we really nailed with the new Crush and Blow feature. Kind of keeping these explosive, violent moments a little more random and a little more shocking to the player as you watch them.
NetherRealm is becoming known for attention to detail. Our characters are just incredibly realistic.
We have on all of our characters, we have scanned faces, we have fully detailed tiling material system on all of our materials for all of our characters that holds up both in gameplay and both in our cinematic moments.
Kitana, Empress of the Dead.
MK11 picks up where MKX left off. Raiden had become Dark Race. It turns out he has disrupted the balance of good and evil in the universe that was desired by Kronika, a new character to the Mortal Kombat universe, who is the keeper of time and the architect of the destiny of the universe.
First boss female character in any Mortal Kombat game, so we're really excited about that.
Now that things have shifted irrevocably to the side of good, and so she has only one solution left, and that is to rewind time back to the beginning and restart it.
One of the interesting aspects of MK11's story with the time folding is that you get to see so many interesting interactions between young and old versions of themselves.
The thought of becoming you sickens me.
We really wanted to focus on customization this time around. There's this collection component of like you can collect all these different augments, you get to apply those things to gear, and you can use that to customize a ton of different gameplay stuff.
Now we're giving players the ability to create their own variations, so it's almost infinite number of variations.
As a player, you can get into the Towers of Time and you can start doing a lot of things. They're going to turn over, some are going to be hourly, some are going to be 6 hours, 8 hours a day, some of them a week because they're going to take you a long time to get through. There's going to be a lot of different things to do.
We really try to improve just the multiplayer experience. Players want to be matched up with somebody of comparable skill level.
Everyone's always making progress, right? If you're playing competitively online, win or lose, you're making progress towards something that's going to make you better, more effective, right?
You know, I think the biggest thing we always keep as a theme when we're starting with any of the games is the word fun. The first time you get the like enhanced versions of specials feels awesome to me. And I've been working this for like 15, 18 years in Mortal Kombat. That's still awesome to me when that happens.
This game has a ton of content. An absolute ton of content.
And Dominic, what was that process like on paper of either looking at a classic character and going, okay, what would they be doing 25 years later? And also bringing in a new character, where do they fit in the process?
Yeah, sure. With the returning characters, it's trying to make sure, again, we were talking about before, that it's a natural progression of where they were. So we look back at MK9, we look back at MKX, and say, okay, what is that next step, and where do they play? And we were talking about Jackie and Jax a little bit earlier. Like, that was one of the things that we couldn't really get to explore because of where the narrative had to go in MKX was that relationship between the two of them. So it's like, okay, now we got another opportunity to take another bite at this. How can we deepen that? How can we show more of that father-daughter relationship between the two of them? With the new characters, what we try to do on the story side is when we know, okay, there's going to be X number of new characters, we have to figure out, based on the story needs, like who are they going to be aligned with? Are they going to be Team Raiden? Are they going to be Team Shao Kahn, Team Kronika? And then once we know that, coming up with a basic idea of, where do they come from? What is their relationship in terms of the plot to these characters? And then sort of creating this loose sketch about, who they're aligned with, what they're doing, what they're fighting for, and then let the rest of the team figure out how they want to design them both in terms of look and also the play, and just so that we have just this foundation from which everybody can spring on. And certainly where the new characters come in, the rest of the team has taken these in directions that we never contemplated when we were writing it, and they're that much better for it. I mean, they really turn out amazing.
And then, Shanna, for you, when you see the concept of a character like Kronika, and you go, what if we could do this in this cinematic? Does that kind of spark the imagination for your team when you see those first type of concepts or ideas coming from the writers or the art team?
Yeah, we definitely try and we really want to see the concept art or at least the character so we can kind of get ideas of what they do or what they can do in story or fatalities or anything like that. And it really helps kind of drive stuff that we do in game, like with magic, or if we want to implement a certain prop or something, is it feasible? Does it go with their character? Does it go with their look? And we go on and we alter from there. Yeah, the animation side, we hook up I'm sure you see the making of videos where it's like the headgear braces looking thing with the camera and a bright light in their face. And we put little dots on their face, and we have the mocap actors kind of basically lip sync what the voiceover actors have done. And then as they talk, it gets interpolated into a software, and it mimics those facial poses that they're making while they're talking to the ones that Steve was talking about as we do our scans. And it's not automatic. There's a lot of still hand keying and cleanup needed, but we get the base phonemes and mouth flapping.
I can just imagine the notes in the room, like, okay, the next pose is you're being sawed in half, and action.
Yeah.
Make that face.
In a lot of ways, it's almost full circle. Back in MK1, 2, and 3, we would do something very similar. We obviously, they were 2D games, but we would go through agencies and pick out, that's perfect Sonya, perfect Katana, and bring them in and film them.
That's what caught everybody's eye way back in the day, seeing those renders of, is that a real person? And they're fighting in a pit, and those are spikes. Oh no. I mean, was a lot of fun, 20, 25, 26 years ago, but you guys continue to raise the bar. And Shannon, I want to jump into more the fatalities, one of the things that makes Mortal Kombat. You have a number of slides to show us, so let's go ahead and break that down.
So, like all things, it starts with the storyboard. We do have a meeting, and we all talk. Derek's in the meetings with me, and we talk about ideas and things that are relatable to each character type and what we want them to do. Also, just sometimes we're like, what would be a cool way to slice somebody? How do we do that? So this is for Baraka's fatality, face off. This is the starting pose. Of course, he grabs the face. Boards by Tony Godsky. This is the panel for the actual face grab. He had a lot of fun with it. The face comes off. Then he throws it. It splats on the ground. Baraka then grabs the face again, digs in deep, and pulls off his meat and skull, showing the brains and tongue, like in real life. Throws that away, pulls out his arm blade, stabs him in the head, and then is like, oh, this might taste good, and has a little chomp. And then from those, we take it to mocap. Oh, shit. Oh, I did a bad. I went too far, I'm sorry.
You saw nothing. You saw nothing.
Nothing. There was nothing.
Yeah, hold on, everybody. Hold on.
No
We're
one
gonna
told me
get
the
there.
clicker didn't have a stopper. I know, I botched it. Anyway, back to Baraka. So from here, we go to the animatic stage / we do the animatic and then we do the mocap where we capture the fighters, and then I take it into Motion Builder where I set up the cameras and shakes and edits and do the cinematography for it. I believe we have a video for that as well. It's very basic. It's just plain models, plain background, temp props. It's not as cool looking as the final product. No facial poses or anything. And then from there, after that gets edit, locked, and approved, I take it into the Unreal Engine where we set it up. It gets a lighting pass, an effects pass, and it becomes what it is in the final.
And that was such a huge hit at the reveal when everybody got to see that for the first time around the world. One, they were excited Baraka was back, but two, that the fatalities are even more creative and look incredible.
Yes, we have way too much fun with that.
How did you make those decisions, Steve, of art style, we want him to look this way, but still be recognizable as Noob Saibot? How did you make those decisions?
Yeah, so it's always a challenge, you know. Of course, you know, we mentioned the story guys, you know, Dominic really giving us, you know, definition of what the character is inside and out, and how he fits in the story. Then we do a ton of, you know, concepts, but we always want to push it. And this look, I am really proud of the character guys and our concept guys of really pushing the look, because, you know, he's not just a pure, you know, ninja black, you know, fully in black. There's silver elements and different material changes, and they really pushed it, and I love that new look. It's just bringing in the silver and making it look like he's going into, you know, the battle.
What meeting happened in order to design that fatality? Because when I saw that for the first time, I'm like, what does he do? I've never seen anything like, what is happening? That was my whole progress of watching that video. So Shanna, what was it like for your team to create something like that?
Well, that's the exact reaction we want. I think the idea was, what would be gross? Oh, hands and mouth. No one wants that. So we did it.
Yep, and that's how you make magic, folks.
Yep. Give the people what they don't want, but they do. So yeah, that one was one that definitely I think started with like a cut.
But I think, well, because we always listen to everybody in the studio, and we'll cast a net and say, hey, does anybody have any ideas? And one of our QA guys, Jim O'Leary, was like, hey, I've been thinking about this, guys. And we listened to it, and then we bounced it off the room. We brought it in, bounced it off the room, and then you have that, guys.
Yeah.
Like previous guest characters like Alien or Freddy, how do you kind of bring them into the universe, meld them into Mortal Kombat?
Well, there's a lot of variables involved in getting that. You know, there's you know, getting the rights to do it, getting you know, Mortal Kombat, as you know, is a really, really violent game, and so whoever lets us do put their character in the game is going to have their face ripped off by Baraka, obviously. So anybody who's willing to kind of go that route, that narrows it down. And then at that point, you know, it's amongst the team. A lot of people, you know, what do we want to see? We're you know, children of movies that were in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and so it's just our influence, what we would be excited to work on. That's a big part of it.
Jason Voorhees is one of my favorite characters in MKX. It was so cool.